See? Get 5 minutes, get back on.
Go to your seat.
That's the one thing I do like about StreamYard is if it cuts out, it doesn't affect your streaming.
So am I back on live?
Yeah, I see it.
And did the old one post?
Yeah, the old one won't post.
Even though it cut off, it posted?
No, because last time he gave you one, you wasted it. And he's eating one right now.
You got this from my pack.
I bought both of them.
For me. So who's on right now?
Nobody but me.
We'll give it a couple minutes.
Oh, by the way, you forgot to do the fingers to the walking of scriptures at the time.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Really?
Of course.
That's the first service.
So as they come,
We'll give it a little bit of time. The internet went out.
on the Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi went out.
Sahara, move. Here. Go sit down. I'll give you one. Go sit down. And stay in your seat.
Cool. We back on. All right. Wi-Fi went out for a little bit.
Go sit down. I'll give you one to your seat. That's right, I'm not.
So we'll label this part 1 and part 2.
Remember, I can't change it.
I can change it from my phone. We got John and Sister Hollis back on. Waiting for Vince and Gia, Aisha, Zora, Zion. Get a little bit so they know we're back on. Wi-Fi went out. We're still in Daniel. We started at Daniel 16. Daniel chapter 7, verse 16. Let Vince know. Vince and Gia know. We're back on. Maybe 2 more minutes and let's get started. Yeah, we need time to let everyone get on so they're not playing catch up with the scriptures.
Zazie, stop that.
She eats these?
You let her waste one last Sabbath. She like wasted, she like took a bite out of one cracker and wasted the other 2. These are expensive.
How much?
Like $6 or $7 for a pack.
What? Why do you keep buying these things?
For you.
And you and
Alright, let's get it. Alright, part 2. Recap. Genesis chapter 1, the Almighty created space and time. He set the sun and the moon and the stars for signs, for seasons, for days, for years. Deuteronomy 20:16, he said, observe the month of Abib. Exodus chapter 12, he says that this month is the first month and the beginning of months in the year. So he set a time for the people of the Most High to observe the beginning of our year. He gave us a time frame to keep, then he gave us months. Now we're in Daniel chapter 7, finishing off on that. I'll start at verse 17. These great beasts, which are the 4, are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. Now, it will come in a process of time. Not all 4 kings are going to come at the same time. But check this out, so we can know what time we're in. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. So in the end, the saints will win. Then I would know the truth about the 4 beasts which are diverse from the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were as iron and nails as brass, which devour and break in pieces in the residue of the feet. These 10 horns were in his head, and the other which in the camp, and before whom 3 fell, even that horn that had eyes in the mouth that spake very great things, whose eyes looked more stout than his fellows, who was more stout than his fellows. I beheld the same horn made war against the saints and prevailed against them. They made war against the saints and prevailed against them. All right, shalom, shalom. We're back on, right? Until the ancient, you didn't miss too much. We're still in Daniel. Until the ancients of days came, and judgment was given unto the saints of the Most High, and to the time of the saints were possessed. So During this time, we will suffer persecution until the Almighty comes back. Like he said in Acts chapter 1, just like you've seen Mashiach rise up, the same he shall return. Let's keep going. Thus he said, on the fourth beast there shall be 4 kingdoms upon the earth, which shall diverse from all kingdoms, which shall devour the whole earth and tread it down and break in pieces. Check this out. And he did. And it has happened, and we still got more to come. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise. And another shall rise after them, and shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. He shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until the times and times be divided and divided of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away the dominion and consume and destroy it in the end. So the end we will win. Oh, you didn't call Karen. All right. So now it says one of these kingdoms is going to change the times. She's on. Shalom, we're dealing with the false New Year's, so we dropped the ball, forgot to call you. But we're in, I'm going to read an article right now. Can you hear me? All right, cool. Article 1. The primitive Christians, which I'm not going to say Christians, they were believers because we didn't refer to our Christians. They called us Christians and they called us Nazarenes. We were believers of truth. So the primitive believers did keep the Sabbath of the Jews. Therefore, the Christians for a long time together did keep their convocations on the Sabbath, which some portions of the law were read, and this continued to the time of Laodicea Council. The whole works of Jeremy Taylor, you could read that, that's Encyclopedia, volume 11 or 9, page 1416. So this proves that in the very beginning, when the apostles were still alive, we were still keeping the Sabbath. None of the Sunday worship stuff. Then the spiritual seed of Abraham fled to Pelah in the side of the Jordan, were found safe in a refuge and could serve their master and keep the Sabbath. So that's in the history, Zubelo's historical history, chapter S and whatnot. But I'm going to get to the main part. Sabbath, a Hebrew word signifying rest. Sunday was a name given to the heathens for the first day of the week because it was the day which they worshiped the sun. Bible Encyclopedia, John Edea, page 561. So you could look this up in Encyclopedia. The sun was the foremost god of the heathens. So most of the heathens worshiped the sun. That was their favorite god, like Zeus or something, right? This is why when they depict their false Jesus, they put a yellow ring behind their head to represent the sun god. The truth is something royal, kingly about the sun, making it fit emblem of Jesus, which obviously that's not his name. The son of justice, hence the church of these countries were seen to have keep the old pagan name, and it remained consecrated and sanctified. The Catholic word March 1994, page 809. The Constantine published the Council of Nicaea, or Constantine, published an edict in Milan, granted freedom of religion in the empire, establishing Sunday as the day of worship. This is Poyler's. Poyler's, Colliers, Encyclopedia, volume 7, page 212. So we know that the Council of Nicaea and the Catholic Church, they changed the main worship day to Sunday. Now, I'm going to show you this parallel. We're going to get into this. So this is what they call the days of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday at sunset to Saturday at sunset is the last day of the week. So they changed the main worship day to the first day of the week. Now I'm going to show you the parallel. We're going to get into this in a little bit. Now, I'm going to get with Article 2 now. Then we're going to get back into the scriptures real quick. Article 2. The Gregorian calendar, which they're saying is going to be a new year. The world majority keeps the Gregorian calendar, and they say their New Year's is going to start in a couple hours, right? The Gregorian calendar, like the Julian calendar, came before the Gregorian calendar, is a solar calendar with 12 months and 28 to 31 days in each month. So it goes by the sun. Go ahead and say the sun.
The sun.
Okay, now remember, and they did sun worship, these pagans, but let's keep going. This year in both calendars consists of 365 days, with the leap day being added in February in the leap years. The length of the months of the Gregorian calendar are the same as the Julian calendar. The only difference is that Gregorian reformed and omitted a leap day in the 3 century years every 400 years, and left the leap day unchanged. So every 400 years. A leap year normally occurs every 4 years. A leap day historically was inserted, doubling 24 Februaries. There were indeed 2 days dated 24th February. However, for many of the years, it's been customary to put an extra day at the end of the month of February, adding in 29 days for a leap day. Before 1969 of its general Roman calendar, the Catholic Church delayed February feast after the 23rd by 1 day in leap years. All right, so this is when the Gregorian calendar started and why they say the year comes here and they base it off the sun. Now, let's go into the biblical calendar. All the chronologically in the Bible that dates the days, the months, and the year are expressed in the terms of a biblical lunar calendar. What's lunar calendar? Say lunar.
Lunar calendar.
Our calendars go off the moon. That's how he dictates our months. Their calendar goes off the day. Let's keep going. This calendar was used in the day of Noah, and the same calendar that was used in the ancient civilizations. We're not the only people that had the moon calendar. The Babylonians and the Chinese calendar, I believe, is a lunar calendar too. So there's more people with the moon calendar, but that doesn't mean their beginning of the year starts when the Almighty told our beginning of the year starts. It has 12 lunar months in each of 30 days, and the Egyptians used this type of calendar, which 5 days extension up to around the 8th century BC. The Chinese used it around the 4th century BC when Rome was founded, and Romulus 360-day calendar being used in ancient calendars. So, Sir Isaac Newton stated, right? So, the difference between us is we use the moon, why it says new moons in the Bible, to dictate our months, and these heathens use the sun. Now, I want to show you this parallel. You see how the Almighty sets up the main worship day is on the last day of the week. And what does the wicked one do? I'm going to do the first day of the week. They set up their New Year's in the dead of winter. Ask someone in Buffalo, New York right now if this feels like a new year to them. When nothing's growing, their whole house is iced up. I think 31 people died in their cars, being frozen. Right now, they're thinking this is a new year, dead of winter. And yeah, we live in Belize, so there's no such thing as winter here. But in the majority of places in Europe and places in the United States that do, in Canada and Alaska that do have a winter, this is not a new year. There is nothing growing. When the Almighty says, let there be, it was. So you're saying the Almighty said, let there be seed that bear fruit after a kind, and all these trees popped up with no fruit on it, no leaves, and it's just winter, just snow everywhere. Or maybe if we go after the biblical calendar, when he said let there be, we've seen that it was springtime. Now when we look at the biblical calendar, when our new year starts in March, roughly April, and you look at what people call springtime, when you see the first seeds, the first leaves come out of the branches of the trees, it's the same time as the Almighty set up for us. Our stuff starts when the new growth, the new year growth, the new seeds and leaves and plants start growing. That's our new year, not dead of winter. So let's keep going. Now, do you also see how we use the moon and they use the sun? We start our day at sunset. They start our day opposite. Roughly sunset 5:30 to 6 o'clock for most parts of the world. Around 6 o'clock. They start at 12 o'clock midnight. They do the complete opposite. Our main worship day, or our day of rest, is the last day of the week. Well, we're going to make ours the first. Ours is in spring. Our beginning of the year is in springtime when everything grows. We're going to make it in the dead of winter when nothing grows. See this parallel? No. So let's keep going. They will change the times. Now give me Genesis. We're going to use the moon. These sinners are going to use the sun. Everything has to be opposite of what God created. They are trying to get you so far away from the Most High to where it's impossible for him to recognize you as his children. It's impossible to recognize these people out there as his creation because they're backwards, opposite. Now let's give me Genesis. We're almost done. Genesis chapter 1 again. Verse 14. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And the Almighty said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let there be for signs and for seasons, for days and for years, and let there be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give lights upon the earth. And it was so. And the Almighty made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. And the Almighty set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and divided the lights from darkness. And the Almighty saw that it was good. In the evening and the morning was the fourth day. So the Almighty set these lights. Now, let's get deeper. Give me Jeremiah chapter 32. Jeremiah chapter 32. I'm going to start at verse. What? Chapter 30, Jeremiah chapter 31, verse. We'll start at 31. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the day shall come that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, not with the old, house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the old covenant what I made with their fathers in the day that I took them out and bring them out of the land of Egypt, which covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, said the Almighty. But this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Almighty. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it upon their hearts, and I will be their Yah, and they shall be my people. Check this out. And they should teach no more every man his neighbor, every man his brother, saying, know the Almighty. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Almighty. And I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more. But now here's where it gets deeper. Thus said the Almighty, which is given the sun for light by day, and ordinance of the moon, and the stars for light by night, which divided the sea when the waves thereof war, and the Lord of hosts is his name. Check this out. This is what is given. If those ordinances depart from before me, said the Almighty, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from becoming a nation before me forever. Thus said the Almighty, if heaven above can be measured and the foundation of the earth be searched out, I will also cast out the seed of Israel from all that they have done, said the Almighty. Now he's saying, if I do away with my ordinance of the sun and the moon, then I'll do away with Israel. So do we still have a sun and the moon? Yes, we do. So then why did he give us the sun and the moon? For signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. And he still told us to observe the month of Abib and keep these months and to keep his feast days. So we still go by his calendar. That's why people say the Jewish calendar. It's no such thing as a Jewish calendar. It's the calendar he given his people. This is the Almighty's calendar. The Almighty gave Israel his time. He's given that to us. This is when he said this is the beginning of the He started time. He created time. We just adopted. But let's keep going. Now give me Revelation 21. When if there's any time we do not have to keep his time, when would that be? Revelation 21, which will be never, but hopefully she wrote the news down. Yeah. Revelation 21. 21, verse 1 through 3. Revelation 21, verse 1 through 3. Shh. And I saw a new heaven and new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Almighty out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven say, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Almighty himself shall be with them, and he shall and be their Yah. Right? So he's talking about new heaven, new earth. Now let's jump on to verse 21. And the gates, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city were pure gold, and it was transparent glass. He's talking about new heaven, new Jerusalem. And I saw no temple therein, for the Almighty Yah, Almighty, the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of sun, neither of moon, to shine in it. For the glory of the Almighty did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth shall bring their glory into honor it. And the gates of it shall not be shut all the day, and there shall be no night there. So even if there was a time where he did away with his ordinance, that's just in Jerusalem or in the temple. And we still going to be keeping his time. Because we see from one new moon to another, from one Sabbath to another, we shall be keeping it. We see in another scripture says, who don't come up to keep the feast of the tabernacle, there shall be no rain, and he'll send a plague. So this is why we don't observe their Gregorian calendar. Our New Year starts in roughly March. It fluctuates because you're translating our calendar with the Gregorian calendar. And so their month, it may, just like your birthday hits on a different day every year, our beginning of the year sometimes hits the latter of the March and sometimes hits the latter of the April. We go by the moon. They go by the sun. They go by their false sun god. They go by all that stuff. We go by the Most High. So, hopefully, that gives you guys some more clarification with why we don't observe these foolish New Years and why we're not partaking in that foolishness. So, with all that said and being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.